y'all. We're doing another live writing session with Delores. I'm back. You know what? I wish I could say, like, I hate when I say, like, I'm done with a book, but I'm not. Like, I go back and I'm like, oh, I'm not done. I think there's like a done and then there's a done. You know what I mean? And so I was done, but I wasn't done. If that makes sense. Does that make sense? Okay. Ciao. I was done, but I wasn't done. Okay. So I'm going back through and making some edits, making some changes to the book coming out in August. Also, you guys, I have been rebranding. Some of you guys know that. And so, my main focus of what I teach is discernment. But if you're just discovering me, you probably didn't know that I've been teaching discernment for a while now. And so I wanted to go back into the archives of my discernment teaching and show you guys some of the things that we've talked about in the past. And again, if you're just now discovering me, then you're just now discovering these videos. I have a whole YouTube page for those of you who are following me on other platforms. It's called Delores, the Pastor's Daughter on YouTube, which probably may get the new brand name, which I'm still deciding what that's going to be. So, but in the meantime, in between time, as we are doing our writing session today, I figure, you know what? Let's go back in the archives. Let me show the people. We've been talking about this for a minute now. Okay. I've done book reviews. I've done, lessons and all of that stuff. And so this is a book review that I did of the book A Yearn to Discern by R.L. Mako. And I love her work. She actually has 2 books on discernment. And one is A Yearn to Discern, and the other one is A Year to Discern, or something like that. Of course, I don't have them like right handy while I'm talking about it, but I have the books, and so I went through and did a book review. Like we read the books, went over like some commentary, added some things in there, whatever that we see in real time, and how we can apply the lessons that were talked about in that book to real life, what we're going through right now. And so we're going to look at these videos as we're doing our writing sessions. I only have, I'm working on this other screen right now, but, just for these purposes, let's just, let's look at these videos, listen to these videos, and, kind of get a refresher. For some of you who are just new to it, then this will be your introduction to my book reviews and how we've discussed discernment in the past. I haven't seen very many people really talk about discernment much. Well, they talk about it, but not really teach it. And so, this is a unique niche for me. And how I came to discover that I had a keen sense of discernment was through the things that was happening with my father, other things that have happened over the years. And I realized that a lot of us are really taught to doubt our discernment. Now, discernment is a gift from God. Everybody has it, so it's not something that you have to go and acquire, but you do need to work it. Like, you need to work that muscle. Some people would call it intuition. Some people call it like the Holy Spirit, a sixth sense, or, all these other things. But, discernment is discernment. Okay. And it encompasses all of those things: the sixth sense, the intuition, the Holy Spirit. Like, it encompasses those things. But discernment it's like this toolbox that you have, and it's got all of these qualities and all of these characteristics that you can pull from. A lot of people also want to exclude emotion from discernment, thinking that emotion has no place in your discerning decision. It does. It has a place, right? One of the things that I teach is that emotion has, it should be given a certain percentage, a certain weight, so to speak, in your discernment decision. But it shouldn't be. You shouldn't be making decisions totally off emotion. I mean, we can see all the time where our emotions have defeated us, where they've been wrong, where people have gone completely off of emotion and they've acted erratically, using absolutely no discernment at all. And so as we go through this book review, you'll see how even R.L. Mako talks about discernment really breaks it down. And so we read through this book and provided commentary and all of that stuff. So as you can see, there's quite a few videos that I've done on this topic, on this review, and you can go to my page and you can see here it's called Let's Talk About Discernment Book Review, and it's a whole podcast series that you can go and look at and listen to. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, like I said in the chat, let me know what you're working on. Y'all know, child. I told y'all before, like an eventful weekend could totally throw me off my writing schedule. So I have to be really intentional about my writing schedule and making sure that I stick to my schedule. Sometimes I don't go live when I'm writing. I might be in a zone, or I might just be doing a lot of other things, and then I'll stop and I'll write a bit, and then I go do other things, and so it just may not be the right atmosphere for me to do writing sessions with y'all. But just know, honey, that we are sticking to it, and my goal is to be more intentional about these writing sessions and these creation sessions. So let me know, what are you creating? Let me know in the chat. And as you come in, please like the video. As you leave, please like the video, and let your people know. We're doing writing sessions. A lot of people ask me about writing a book and stuff like that, and I refer them to these writing sessions. The last past maybe like 2 videos back, we started doing I aired the writers boot camp. This is the Hay House Writers Boot Camp. If you guys know anything about publishing companies, you know that Hay House is one of the top ones, and so I attended their boot camp, and I give you guys the audio recording of it. Okay, so this is something that I paid for, that I'm giving you guys, the audio for it. So if you have any questions about writing, about getting published, about if it's good to get published, or do you want to self-publish and all of that stuff, then go back to those videos, child, because I ain't got time. Okay, I ain't got time to be sitting down individually with y'all answering y'all questions about writing a book. Okay, y'all gonna have to go and do your research. Okay, because when you're in the zone, I'm in a zone, honey, and I got to get my work done. But I provide you guys with these resources, so it's up to you to go back and listen to these videos. You could do writing session, you can do your own writing session as you're listening to it. It's not even anything that you have to sit down and watch and just be so solely focused on it. You can totally just be listening to it, letting it get into your conscious, letting it get into your spirit, honey. Okay, and so that you can make a decision on how you want to pursue your writing goals and your writing aspirations. So let's go ahead and get started in this. And I am going to be writing. I'll be on and off camera because I'm doing other things. But in the meantime, we'll be listening to my book review of A Yearn to Discern by R.L. Mako. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I think I'm going to try to mute out, but we'll see if this plays good. Like if there's echo or anything, or if you guys have any issues listening to it. So just let me know in the chat if you're getting like feedback or anything like that. I'm going to try to minimize that as much as possible. Okay, so let's go.
Good morning. It's me, Delores, the pastor's daughter. It's 7:57 here in Alabama, Central Standard Time. So good morning to you. I am outside getting some much needed sun. What in the world? So good morning to you. Why is this old caption still on here? Hold on, y'all. So good morning to you. Yes. Why didn't my little thing didn't save? My little title didn't save. Let me see. I don't know why. Anyway, we're gonna be talking about discernment today. But I don't know why my thing keeps saying the old title. Yeah, my birthday was a week ago. It wasn't. It's not supposed to still say, it's my birthday. So sorry about that. I was trying to change the I was trying to change the title. Okay, now it's changing. It's changing on some of the platforms. So good morning, you guys. How are you? I'm up. I'm eating my watermelon. Um, I said I was gonna go on this like watermelon diet. It's where you just eat watermelon for like days, Like some people did it for like 3 days, some people did it for a week, and some people did it for like 30 days. I don't think I'm gonna do it for no 30 days, but I could totally just eat watermelon. Like I absolutely love watermelon, y'all. You just don't even understand. Like I love watermelon. So I got my laps in today. I did a 1 hour walk. It's around my neighborhood. Um, which is like I do two laps around my neighborhood. I just started back doing that because like y'all, I seriously need to drop some weight because this makes absolutely no sense at how big I have gotten, you know. Cause y'all remember when I had lost a bunch of weight before? And then y'all, it see like the thing was like I started eating um well, pretty much vegetarian, right? And so I really started like dropping weight. And then I ended up getting sick, right? So then I dropped a whole lot of weight and I couldn't eat what I wanted to eat. So once like my stomach got better and all of that stuff, I just started eating everything I couldn't eat before. Yeah. Yeah. Like I totally started I just started eating. Okay. Like, child. And it's just gotten a bit out of control. Do you hear me? It has gotten out of control. So I'm trying to do better. Um, yeah, I'm trying to do better. I was like, after my birthday, I was gonna, buckle down and all of that. Cause I mean, you can't start no diet like around your birthday time. I mean, you're gonna be like eating cake and drinking and doing all the things. And of course, I was doing all the things. Mm. But this is a sugar baby. Um, I mean, that's what I usually get because I like for my watermelon to be sweet. I don't like to have to put salt on it and do all of that stuff. Like that's too much. So I just want my watermelon to be good when it comes out. Like, what am I gonna do when watermelon season's not in anymore? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, Publix still does pretty good, so I probably just end up going there. But y'all, when watermelon season is in, I'm telling you, I'm like at the farmers market. You guys know I go to the farmers market nearly every weekend and get me like watermelon. Like last week I went and got one, but the week before I got two of them. Tow them up, y'all. Like tow them up. Just by myself too. Nobody else really eats it. Like my youngest son, when he comes to visit, he'll eat the watermelon. But for the most part, it's just me. Philip doesn't eat it, and so I got all this watermelon to myself. Mm. Yeah. So you guys know that this is the Kingdom Code podcast, right? And the when I first developed the name, um, I wanted it to what I was thinking that it was a community of discerners, right? So people who have discernment, have the gift of discernment, or who want to really work on their discernment and become, you know, skillful at discernment, right? But I also wanted to for for my message to really like cater to daughters, right? So then I said, okay, well, Kingdom Code should stand for a community of daughters everywhere, right? Because I'm a daughter and I come from the perspective of a daughter. I go by Delores, the pastor's daughter. So, um, I wanted to always like kind of cater my topics and stuff like that to daughters because I feel like we don't really like address the dynamics of a daughter, especially like um in like toxic family dynamics. You know what I'm saying? There is a different type of responsibility that comes with being a daughter. And and so, I settled on community of daughters everywhere, right? Because my message is for women, and it's really like, even with discernment, I want my message to really cater to women, to daughters who, um, like I said, who are trying to activate their discernment, who are gifted in discernment, who who want to learn how to discern, stuff like that, right? So I figure like that's like the best name for what I'm doing, right? So over time, like over the last few years, I have acquired several books. I've read several books and really studied discernment because I realized, like through telling my story about my father, that it was the gift of discernment that enabled me to know like what he was doing, to be able to analyze his behavior and his actions, and weigh out the facts, and really do deep analysis on who he is, and how he was presenting and how he was treating the church members, the family, etc., right? So it's through discernment that I discovered that, and through discernment I actually was able to um like uncover this plot that my father had to kill my mother. And so I was able to talk to her about, what I had discerned. And it turns out that he did make an attempt on her life. So um so I was thinking, based on all of that happened, that this is something, a skill that we talk about, right? Like you hear discernment all the time, but you never really hear anybody telling you how, really showing you like how to activate your discernment, how to practice it, and how to constantly be working on it. Like when I talk about it, I describe discernment as a muscle, because you know how when you don't use a muscle, you basically can, lose the strength in it, the tone in it, the abilities that a muscle could have. And conversely, when you work on muscles and you build up that strength, then you can do great things with it. Like, you could pick up great things, or you have strength in that area, right? Wherever the muscle is. So if we think of discernment like a muscle that we all have, right? We were all born with it, but some of us don't work it out, right? Some of us don't activate that muscle. We don't never use that muscle. We don't ever practice and all of that. So if we think of it in terms of a muscle, then it's something that we can say like, okay, as soon as I really learn how to use this muscle, what this muscle is capable of, how this muscle can benefit my life, um, and how I can constantly be working on it so that I'm strengthening it, and using it to do what I needed to do, right? Just like a muscle does. So I'm thinking, okay, like it would behoove me, right? Like, us, it would behoove us to really like get some good teaching, some learning, some, exercise in discernment. Um, so I came across this one book. It's called A Yearn to Discern. It's by R.L. Mako, right? This is it right here. This is a good book. She has two of them. And one is a actual practical guide where you could put the principles into practice. It's called a Year to Discern. And with that, she gives you, things that you could practice throughout the year. So we're going to go ahead and get into this book today. And like I said, I've had this book for a while. I've already read through it. I've read through the other book, and I have other books on discernment because um, I am a discernment and relationship coach. And so I'm trying to just give myself all of the knowledge so that I could help you all to be able to really activate your discernment, practice it, and keep that muscle strong. So I figured today, that we would get into this book And if you like to get the book, obviously it's on Amazon, where most books are, It's on Amazon. This is it right here. It's called A Yearn to Discern, and it's finding purpose and fulfillment through discernment. And this is going to really give you a really good basis and a really good foundation. Like I said, I've read several books on discernment. This is one of the best ones that I've read. And so I want to, read some to you. And, maybe we can start a dialogue. Maybe like our mornings could be talking about discernment, right? So that sets our day up to really be activating that muscle throughout the day, right? So if we talk about discernment in the morning time, then maybe, it helps you all to just be having that in your mind. So as you move throughout your day, then you're like, okay, then you're thinking discernment. How can you apply it to different scenarios that you find yourself in throughout the day, right? So I think that's like a really good strategy. Like, y'all let me know what you think. Um, but so the table of contents is pretty much where it starts. She does a dedication, but I'm not gonna read that. You could read that on your own if you decide to get the book. But the table of contents is, it's giving you like it's giving you all the things. Okay, first of all, it says the origins of the word discern, right? So she's going ahead and just taking you right from the foundation and like building you up. And then she talks about discernment and spirituality, the meaning of discernment, what discernment is not, okay, which is very, very important, right? Because we can get things a bit confused when we talk about discernment. For instance, like confusing discernment with intuition, which is not the same thing, but you can use intuition in discernment, if that makes sense. Okay. So discernment is a core values, principles, and rules, life lessons to shape your ability or that shape your ability. Discernment in action. And she said, discerning saves lives. And so, like, she's giving you, she's kind of like stair stepping you into the root of discernment, like, okay, what's the origin of the word, then taking you, I don't say taking you higher, but it's like taking you deeper too. So whatever, however you want to look, higher and deeper, okay, and wider. It's all the things. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the introduction, and we'll start there. And then we'll just keep going as the days progress, and we'll just, meet up in the mornings and talk about discernment. We'll start our day with a dose, get our daily dose of discernment, so, that we can kind of like shape the rest of our day, and let these principles build on each other. Okay. So the introduction reads like this. It says, the word discernment, excuse me, is neither a word that many of us use in our everyday vocabulary, nor is it a word we think about to describe how we navigate life in times of conflict or in times of triumph. Okay, think about that. Turn in times of conflict or times of triumph. And let me let you see the book again. This is it right here. I guess I should have read the back of it. Okay, let me read the back of it real quick. I'm sorry, y'all. It says, what is discernment? More importantly, do we need to discern in our everyday life? The answer is yes, with 3 exclamation points, y'all. Okay. Discernment is about successfully navigating your way through the daily chaos of life. How does discerning accomplish this task? It's simple. Discernment is the ultimate navigation system that is superior to any other navigation system you will ever encounter. Discernment is an important skill that works its magic best behind the scenes. Just as knowledge is power, discernment is power with a capital P, honey, okay? Because it involves the powerful use of knowledge. In a nutshell, discernment arms you with the power to take control over your life with clarity and focus. And on an even grander scale, discernment in many instances takes you off someone else's path and places you on the path that was designed especially for you. If you are not discerning as you make important decisions and choices in life, then you may as well be playing Russian roulette with your life. Why would you want to do that? With a question mark and an exclamation point. It is my hope that this book will help you navigate life's twists and turns by way of discerning more. Through examples, exercises, and by sharing some of my life experiences and lessons in discernment, this book demonstrates why everyone should invest time in developing the ability to discern. Why? Because through discernment, you will achieve maximum fulfillment and true purpose in life. The benefits of learning how to discern are endless, particularly in today's global society, laced with all the trappings of rapidly changing technology, social media, changing morals, values, ethics, and culture. Discernment is the gift that keeps on giving. And it's about time you unwrap and use this precious gift that God has given to one and all. Just like I told you, everybody has discernment, okay? But are you practicing it? Have you activated it? Are you working it out constantly, you know? And it says here, I'm going to read a little bit of her bio. R.L. Mako is it's a female, you guys. Look, that's a woman. I'm every woman. Okay. Okay, so R.L. Mako is a successful practicing New York attorney with over 16 years of experience in litigation, business development, and contract disputes, among other areas. Mako is also a recipient of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Humanitarian Award that was awarded to her by the County of Nassau, New York, for her community service efforts. So that's her, you guys. And can you believe that it is a lawyer who talks about who has experience in litigation, business development, and contract disputes that is actually talking about discernment? Think about that, right? Like, think about that for a minute. That would you really even consider that to be like her area of expertise, or area that she would go into when she's a lawyer who talks about litigation and business stuff? And you know what I'm saying? Think about it. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Discernment, you can use it in every area of your life, right? Okay, so let me go back to the introduction. Okay, the introduction says, and I'm going to start over since I stopped. The word discernment is neither a word that many of us use in our everyday vocabulary, nor is it a word we think about to describe how we navigate life in times of conflict or in times of triumph. Discernment is a rather humble word, a humble word representing an important skill that works its magic best behind the scenes. Whether we know it or not, discernment is often the unsung hero in our lives that helps us develop a clear path for how we view and value our lives, how we view the lives of others, and how we function in this unstable world. Being able to discern helps us establish how we will allow ourselves to be treated and who we allow to influence our lives under what parameters. Through my own self reflection, I've learned that discernment is a skill that many of us use without knowing or even understanding. That it is a skill at work when we are operating at an optimal level. Just think about that for a second. When you are functioning at a purposeful and focused level, there are specific elements at work pointing you in the right direction to assist in the upward mobility of your life, your loved ones, the people in your circle, and the world around you. One of those specific elements, and without a doubt, one of the most critical elements working on your behalf, is your individual ability to discern. An ability that shouldn't be taken lightly by any means. And just like any other critical skill you should develop in life, the ability to discern must be developed and put into daily practice in order for you to reap its benefits and rewards. Be mindful that the ability to discern may come easier for some than others. However, with discipline and a more heightened consciousness of self, you can learn to discern on an elevated level to ensure that you achieve a sustainable quality of life for yourself and your loved ones. This is true regardless of your physical state of being or other challenges you may be facing in life. Yes, the ability to discern is that far reaching if utilized and developed properly. Okay? No matter what stage of life you are in, it is important to understand that discernment is a staunch advocate for necessary change. Anytime you want to make positive or important changes in your life, no matter what those changes may be, you must initially look at self to determine what internal changes you will need to make first. You must also understand that changing you is the only change that is within your control. Therefore, on a personal level, if you really took some time to invest in honest, critical, and vulnerable self reflection, you'd realize that discernment serves to implement change while allowing us to accept and experience favorable outcomes in life. And for some of us, we are reaping those outcomes without even realizing how discernment uh, capsulated us to the victory. Excuse me, catapulted. And for some of us, we are reaping these outcomes without even realizing how discernment catapulted us to the victory. Excuse me, y'all. Quite frankly, when we achieve the desired result in any given situation, no one exclaims to themselves or to their friends, "I did it. My ability to discern got me through it." On the contrary, once we achieve something great, we are eager to detail all the ways we believe the desired outcome was achieved. We may acknowledge all the people who helped make that outcome possible, and then focus on what we did to make it happen. Unfortunately, no matter how much we pat ourselves on the back, we wouldn't acknowledge our individual ability to discern or give discernment the credit it's due for the role it played in the fruitful outcome. Okay? And depending on the person, there may be several reasons why we don't look more introspectively to analyze exactly how we succeeded in the moment. Even if we consciously analyze the complete steps to our success in a particular situation, I can almost guarantee that we'd use every other possible word to describe our success without even considering the word discernment. It's a shame, but it's true. But don't be too hard on yourself. Most people don't focus on the behind the scenes steps that brought them to glory. It's just part of human us to focus on the external or peripheral elements at work instead of the unique internal elements inside each and every one of us. And while all three elements, external, peripheral, and internal, are important, the internal elements, which include the ability to discern, is the ultimate safeguard that protects us at all times. This is good, right? The good news is Most humans possess the ability to discern within us, right? Have you ever heard someone say, everything you need in order to succeed is already inside you? Well, guess what? They were right. The internal compass inside you is always on the job, even when the other elements are not. And that's the beauty of the ability to discern. Once you fully understand what it means and then learn how to discern properly and consistently, you will further develop this critical skill and put it to use on a daily basis because it always works in your favor. Always. The problem with discernment is the fact that most of us put it aside and simply do not use it. Unfortunately, when we do this, the skill becomes muted, ignored, and undermined. And once the ability to discern is silenced, other influences will quickly take over to dominate your actions. Although there are many influences that present themselves in the absence of discernment, the biggest influence that drowns out the ability to discern is one's emotions. Oh, y'all, this is deep. This is just the introduction, okay? And if you are leading with your emotions, you may as well be playing Russian roulette with your life because you have now placed yourself on an unpredictable alleyway and you have no idea where it will lead. What people fail to understand is this: just as knowledge is power, discernment is power with a capital P because it involves the purposeful use of knowledge. In a nutshell, discernment arms you with the power to take control over your life with clarity and focus. And on a even grander scale, discernment in many instances takes you off someone else's path and places you on a path that was designed especially for you. And since discernment is one of those unique internal elements that guide you in doing what's right for you, and oftentimes what's right for those in your circle and even beyond, it is high time for us to discuss the importance of discernment and how mastering the skill of discernment will change your life positively in many ways. I want you to digest the fact that discernment may very well be the culprit for most of the wise choices you've been making all along. How wonderful and unfortunate at the same time. Wonderful because you are operating at a high level of being that has propelled you and hopefully anyone around you to greater depths of consciousness and success. Unfortunate because even though discernment is actively at work in your life, you have not acknowledged or even grasped the fact that it is at work. Therefore, you have not yet tapped into the full extent at which discernment can enhance your life and elevate you to the levels of success and completeness that you are indeed capable of achieving. However, because you haven't tapped into the full power of discernment, your mind probably has yet to imagine all that it can possibly accomplish. So that's the lesson. So, what's the lesson here? Until you give the ability to discern the opportunity to take on a pivotal role in how you navigate life, you will never give yourself the greatest opportunity to achieve your desired goals, objectives, and purpose in life. I cannot stress enough that the ability to discern should never be underestimated. In fact, discernment should be the foundational strategy used in your life on a continual basis, whether at home, work, play, and during all other settings in between. Discernment should be a skill that is used to constantly refine and or redefine your life and the relationships you allow into your life. Discernment is meant to help uplift at all times. It is the gift that keeps on giving. And it is imperative that it becomes a proactive partner in your life, no matter what the situation is or who you are dealing with. The benefits of learning how to discern are endless, particularly in today's global society, laced with all the trappings of a rapidly changing technology, social media, changing morals, values, ethics, and culture. So, with all this background in mind, the objective of this book is to explore the pertinent and life changing components of discernment so that you have a fountain or well from which to draw upon as you navigate through life's twists and turns. Through examples, exercises, and by sharing some of my life experiences, the lessons in discernment, this book will explain in detail why all human beings should invest time in developing the ability to discern in order to achieve maximum fulfillment and true purpose in life. The objective of this book is to help you develop a strong ability to discern so that you will reach your desired life goals. And it says here, final paragraph, we will begin by understanding. We will begin our understanding of discernment by acknowledging and discussing the roots and origins of the word discern, and then continue to build upon this initial discussion throughout the book. Through the concepts, principles, lessons, experiences, and exercises, you should be able to understand what you need to do in order to begin discerning effectively. And with that sentiment in mind, I wish you happy discerning. Okay, I like that. Happy discerning. Okay. So that's it for today. And then when we come back tomorrow, we will talk about the origins of the word discern. That's chapter 1. So we're just going to get right into it. This book is, I'm telling you, it's full of so much good information. Look, it even has like questions that you can for your reflection that you can answer. That gets you really thinking about um, different elements of discernment, how you can apply them, and reflecting back on times where you didn't use discernment in a particular area or where you did, and then like what was the outcome of that, just so you can kind of like get your juices flowing on um, the times where you did use discernment or you didn't, and why, and you know and what was the outcome and all of that stuff, right? So as she says, some people have used discernment and not really realize that that's what they were doing. And so with that, it's like you're not really giving discernment its full chance to really um, work its magic in your life, because you're really unaware that you're even using it. So this is good stuff, you guys. And I guess throughout, I can be sharing some of my story with you guys as well. Um, but this is going to be really good. And I think, we can look at this like it's a daily dose of discernment. It's just kind of building on, the concepts, and then just keep going higher and deeper in this discussion of discernment so that it's something that we can, easily digest. Sometimes when you get a little bit, like you get too much information at one time, it's just too hard to take it all in. So maybe doing it this way will help us to be able to like really grasp the concepts and really build a strong foundation of knowing what it is, what it's not, where does it come from, how do we activate it, how do we use it in our lives, and all of that good stuff, right? So um so we are on we start chapter 1 tomorrow. And if you want to go ahead and get the book, go ahead, grab the book on Amazon. If you have Prime, it only take you a couple days to get to you, so that you can follow along in the book, and you can actually fill out these areas here. Um, these areas on in the book where she has that you can fill out, and I recommend the Year to Discern book as well, because it goes hand in hand with this book. Um, so yeah, this is R.L. Mako. This is A Yearn to Discern, and it's finding purpose and fulfillment through discernment. We're going to be going through this book together, sharing stories, and just getting smarter about discernment. Okay. So I love you guys, and I'm gonna continue eating my watermelon. What y'all got going on for today? What y'all doing? Hmm. It's 8:30. I have to run a couple errands today. I have to get some writing done. And I've been putting together these videos for y'all. So I'm going to continue working on that today. Um, I have to make a couple corrections with my print book, the Religious Narcissist Decoded, because I had some formatting issues. So the paperback is not available just yet, but the ebook is available. So you're able to go and download the ebook on Kindle, and then I also have it available on my website, kingdomcoacademy.com. And I'm going to put all the information. Um, I make all the information available to you guys. I haven't really been doing a good job at that, so I'll make sure I get that done. Okay. And I love you guys, and I'm wishing you a wonderful, productive, blessed, and prosperous Tuesday. It's Tuesday, right? It's Tuesday, right? Y'all know how these days be running together? Yep. Tuesday, August the 15th. Okay. So um, this is the day that we're starting our daily dose of discernment. And yeah. So we're all going to be so much smarter. How many chapters is this anyway? We're all going to be so much smarter. Let me see. Looks like 16 chapters. Oh, yeah. We're going to be smart in about 2 weeks. Yeah. About 2, 3 weeks. We're going to be so much smarter, y'all. Okay. Listen, we're going to get smart together. All right, y'all. I love you guys. Bye bye for now. I'm out here looking at hot.
All right, y'all. Before we move on to the next episode, what did y'all think about that? Y'all see, I told y'all I've been talking about discernment for a while. I also been talking about losing weight, apparently, for a while. While I'm over here eating stuff I should be eating, child. So, yeah, like I told you guys, it's a whole podcast collection over there. It's easy to find. All of those videos are together, so you can sit there and just watch them like back to back, like we're doing right now. Okay, so let's continue. And like I said, let me know in the chat, what are you creating? What are you working on? Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna ask y'all another question later on. Let me know. Make sure that you like the video on your way in, on your way out. And yeah, let's continue on with A Yearn to Discern, the book review.
Next, I just got my workout done, and today I decided to do some rebounding. Okay, so it's like a trampoline, but it's really for like exercise. So it's a smaller version of a trampoline with the handle and everything. So that's what I just got done doing. So now we are going to get into the first chapter of R.L. Mako's book, A Yearn to Discern, finding purpose and fulfillment through discernment. So this is your daily dose of discernment. I'm Delores, the pastor's daughter, and I will be right back. So that if you guys want a rebounder, then you can get you one. It's not that expensive. So It's under $100, but I've had mine for a while. I just never use it. I'm one of those that like to get like workout equipment but never use it, you know? Can anybody relate? Okay, don't tell on yourself. But that's how I am. So I'm trying to do better. Using my discernment, even when it comes to like my fitness and health and stuff like that. So I'm drinking my water. I got a late start today, so I apologize for that because I want to at least have these, like come and talk to you guys by like 7 a.m. So that's my goal. But today I was like really tired. So um, I decided to get a little extra rest. And today I have a long day. I have a meeting later. Oh my gosh, I think I had a meeting this morning. Oh my gosh, you guys, I did. I missed it. Anyways, so that's why I got to do better, okay? Like, I got to get my life together. Okay, so let me just go ahead and get started because I really don't have that much time before I have to go and try to do something to myself and take these ponytails out. I've been rocking these for like 3 days. Looking a mess, right? But that's neither here nor there. Let's get into today's topic, which is the origins of the word discern. And so this is, I've been reading from R.L. Mako's book, A Yearn to Discern, right? Because I want to give you guys a really good foundation on discernment, and bring in other authors, other sources, other people who are really good at discernment. There are a few, right? So, I think James Goal is one of them too. I have a couple of his books as well. So I'll be talking about his books as well. But this one gives you a really good foundation to get you started on, just kind of like normalizing the word, really understanding like the foundations of it, and just kind of building up on that, on the concept of discernment and really just making it normal, to really use it to, activate your discernment, use it in your everyday life, and then acknowledge that you're using discernment, right? So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, it says here, this is chapter 1 of the book. And the title is The Origins of the Word Discern. And forgive me if I'm speaking a little weird, I have my Invisaligns in as well. Current definition of the word discern. How is the word discern defined, and where does the word discern come from? There are several different definitions on the topic of discernment, or what I like to call modern day definitions used to define discernment. Y'all, why? Just why right now? And it's kind of loud. If you haven't downloaded my ebook, make sure that you go ahead and download my ebook. You can find it on my website as well as um, on Amazon Kindle. And that's a picture of my latest book, The Religious Narcissist Decoded, right? So it's a step by step guide to discerning the tactics and impact of religious narcissism.
Y'all, that book is
So
not available right now, so
grab
don't
that.
go trying to download that.
Let me know when you do, honey. Okay. We'll be talking about it really soon. Okay. So let's get back into it. These definitions vary slightly depending upon which sources you consult. If you open up any current dictionary, you will find that the most basic definitions of discern include, but are not limited to, the following definitions. Number one, the quality of being able to grasp and comprehend what is obscure, an act of perceiving or discerning something. Number two, the ability to obtain sharp perceptions or to judge well. Number three, the ability to notice fine point details, the ability to judge something well, or the ability to understand and comprehend something. So, in a spiritual context, discern has been defined as number one, the ability to decide between truth and error, right and wrong. Number two, a quality of attentiveness to God that over time develops into the ability to sense God's heart and purpose in any given moment. And number three, perception in the absence of judgment with a view to obtain spiritual guidance and understanding. All of these definitions are well and fine, and I am in agreement with most of them to a certain extent. However, these definitions do not dig deep enough and therefore fail to expound on the completeness of discernment and what takes place when one is discerning. Overall, these definitions fail to capture the true essence of discernment, its unique properties, and its true purpose and usage in daily life. Unfortunately, these definitions also do not capture the full extent of the power of discernment and the role it plays in enhancing the quality of one's life. So let's take a step back to uncover the roots of the word discern. Okay, the roots of the word discern. The word discern derives from the Latin word discerner. Discerner. Wait, yeah, I think that's how you say it, discerner. Which means to separate, set apart, divide, distribute, distinguish, or perceive. The prefix dis means apart or off, away, and cerner means to distinguish, separate, sift, or see certain. The word discern also comes from, like, is it coming back? Do y'all hear it? Is it coming back? Lord, like you rarely hear anything flying around here. Okay, let's continue. The word discern also comes from the late 14th century Middle English word discernin, which was borrowed from the 13th century Old French word discerner, which means to distinguish between or separate by sifting. Even further, an old world translation of the word discern defines discernment as to perceive or recognize the difference or distinction between two or more things. Also, distinguish an object with the eyes, see distinctly, behold, also perceive rationally, understand. Quite frankly, when you compare the origins of the word discern to the more current definitions, you'll find that the current definitions of the word discern do not do its origins justice. There are a number of keywords used in the initial definitions of the word discern that should not be lost in today's translation or culture. Specifically, omitting such words as distinguish, distinct, sift, and set apart from the current definitions tend to water down the in depth meaning and function of the word discern. My favorite word used in the original definition of discern is the word sift. Ooh, child. Not sifting. Okay. The word sift. Okay, honey. Sift is defined as to examine something thoroughly so as to isolate that which is most important or useful. Bingo. Using the word sift makes perfect sense when describing the word discern because you must understand that when you are discerning, you are sifting through information in order to come to a rational decision. Now, I could really just stop it right there, but I ain't, okay? When you are discerning, you are essentially deciphering through information that is readily available to you. And you must determine what information is salient and what information must be discarded. Okay. So, what you could keep, you know how they say, eat the meat, leave the bones. That's what this is, honey. That's discernment. Okay. So, even if you can imagine the physical act of sifting through something, the act of sifting underscores its relevance to the act of discernment. What does this mean? Well, When you are sifting through something, you are looking for or trying to uncover something that is there. You just have to identify it. Okay? Sometimes what you are looking for is staring you in the face, and other times it is less visible to you. But nevertheless, the information you need is there. Okay? But the very important aspect of discernment is understanding that the information you need is not obscure, vague, or somehow intrinsically hidden from you. I'll explain this point by using a familiar idiom known as like looking for a needle in a haystack. Okay, you know how people say you're looking for a needle in a haystack, and that's an idiom that she says is not, that doesn't apply to discernment. Okay, so let's get into that. Okay, discerning versus the idiom like looking for a needle in a haystack. Okay, consider the popular phrase. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. What does this phrase mean exactly? The phrase actually means this: the information you need is there, but it is difficult or almost impossible to find. Okay. The salient part to keep in mind about this phrase is the fact that the information, which is the needle you seek, is actually there or available. The phrase also makes you aware that due to either the vastness of where the information is located, coupled with the fact that you must sift through the vastness of information, or perhaps the information you need to uncover is so subtle it is difficult to ascertain. This idiom signifies that either the information itself is hidden, subtle, obscure, or vague, and therefore difficult to ascertain, or the information is hidden within a vast location, making it difficult to find. Either way, somehow the information itself is not easy to uncover. Essentially, the information you need is somehow hiding in a sea of information that makes it difficult to ascertain. That sums up this idiom succinctly. However, this phrase does not quite sum up how discernment works, because when it comes to discernment, the difficulty in obtaining the information you need is totally dependent upon the person's individual ability to discern. Okay? Thank you, Ernest. Good morning to you. Let me read that again. Either way, wait a minute. However, wait a minute, where was I? Okay. However, this phrase does not sum up how discernment works, because when it comes to discernment, okay, the difficulty in obtaining the information you need is totally dependent upon a person's individual ability to discern. I could stop it right there too and just be like, look, y'all, you gotta activate, you gotta practice, you gotta get your skills up, you gotta work that muscle, okay? Because whether or not you can discern, or whether or not you can like sift the information and find what's good in it and what you need to discard, depends on you and your ability to discern, which means that you can totally work on this ability, right? And you can be a master discerner. Okay. That's what this is saying. This is good news right here, okay? Now, it says, let me go back in. The difficulty in obtaining the information you need is totally dependent upon the person's individual ability to discern, not because the information itself is hiding, or because the information is located in an obscure place or positioned in various places, making it difficult to obtain. It's not in the information itself, it's in your ability to sift through the information that is there, which means that the answers are already there. Now, think about how this applies to relationships. Think about when you knew that a person was no good for you, right? And then you just try to pretend like, oh, I didn't know, I wasn't. But the information is there. It's right there. That's what discernment is telling you. If you use your discernment, then the only thing that's stopping you from being able to make the right decisions to pick out what's to sift through what's good and what's bad in a situation is your own individual ability. That doesn't mean that the information isn't there, okay? It doesn't mean you didn't know that this person wasn't good for you, okay? So let's stop saying that, okay? Because that's a lie, okay? Now, let's keep going. This is an extremely important point for you to comprehend. In other words, the difficulty in obtaining the information is not linked to the information itself, but rather the difficulty lies with the person's individual ability to uncover the information. The level of difficulty has to do with a person's strong points or shortcomings. Okay? The level of difficulty has to do with a person's strong points or shortcomings. If a person's shortcomings dominate, then their ability to see information that is right in front of them will be blocked. Does that make sense? Therefore, a person's ability to discern is quite personal and will vary from person to person. Okay? Does that make sense? Overall, the strength of that ability will determine whether the person will see the information that is indeed available to them. Okay? The information is there. It's there. See, that should already make you feel better because then you know that okay, all I got to do is work on me because the information is there. I just need to be able to make better decisions based on the information that is there. Okay? You don't have to go finding the information. It's not like you don't know, you know? It just is like I just need to work on this discernment, that I already have because it's a God given ability, right? So all I got to do is work on this God given ability, this muscle that I already have to be able to make better decisions in every area of my life. Okay? Does that make sense? A person must acknowledge that their individual ability to discern is intimately connected to whatever is going on in the person's life that may or may not allow them to discern in a particular situation or situations. Mm, mm, mm. Y'all. So it's like, what you got going on? What you got going on, sis? That's making it harder for you to decide to make the decisions. Okay. That means you got to work on you. Okay. This ability will also be connected to the person's character, personality, and other unique traits of the person. We will discuss this point in more detail in the chapter entitled Personal Discernment. Okay. However, the important point to remember is that discernment takes place in the face of known facts and information. Okay? You have at your disposal. So this is already there. The information is there. I mean, we've got the internet, we've got research, we've got trusted people in our lives that we could go to seek guidance. We can sit analyze the facts and the error. Come on. We got intuition, we got all the things. Okay? So how are you using all the things that are already there? Okay? So this information is not designed to be difficult to uncover. And notice that when referring to this information in the context of discernment, I have to use the word find. I intentionally, wait, she says I have not used the word find because I was about to say, wait a minute, hold on. That's a contradiction there. Okay, I read it wrong. My bad. So she says, and notice that when referring to this information in the context of discernment, I have not used the word find. I intentionally omitted use of this word when discussing discernment because when you are discerning, the information you need is not lost or hidden, or it's not hiding, okay? In the first place, it's not hiding in the first place. So there is no need to find it, okay? The information simply exists and you have to identify it. Now that's deep. Okay, what time is it? Because I got to get ready to go in a little bit. Okay. Okay. So let's keep going. This is why the needle in the haystack analogy does not coincide with discernment, because with discernment, the information you need is not obscure or hidden from you. If you are unable to absorb the information, it is because you failed to see it. And that's all on you, not the information. Okay? The fact of the matter is, the information was conveyed to you whether in writing, verbally, and or non-verbally, and oftentimes it is a combination of some or all types of such information, which means that you knew because it was written somewhere, okay? You knew because somebody told you, or you knew because you saw the signs, okay? Like, come on now. Or all of the above. It was written, you this person told you, and you saw the signs, and you just okay. You didn't you didn't absorb it. You didn't sift. You know what I'm saying? You didn't sift through all the information that was already there. Okay. Now, the failure to take heed of that information must be borne by the person receiving the information, not the information itself, and not the person who conveyed the information to you. Ooh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Artie, you said, wow, dealing with this right now and it's working. Yes, yes, because we need to normalize the word discernment. And the thing is that we hear people talk about it in the context of, well, you need to use your discernment. You should have used discernment. Where's your discernment? You know? But no one ever really like breaks down like, okay, how does this work? How does this discernment thing work? And you hear it spoken about so much in religious context that you think, okay, this is some type of religious thing, like some type of like, you're on some type of spiritual level. And yes, it is, right? It is that, but it's also an everyday thing that we can use to make better decisions in our lives, right? So we need to normalize discernment. Okay, let's keep going. One of the most crucial aspects of discernment is the fact that it takes place in the face of known information. Understanding this fact is also why I personally take issue with those definitions of discern that include the word obscure. When something is obscure, it is unclear, uncertain, or unknown. However, when one is discerning, they are not operating blindly, okay, to discover information that is unknown or available to them. On the contrary, and as I will continue to state and demonstrate throughout this book, the act of discerning takes place when information, particularly facts, are present. Okay? The information is readily available to the person. Think about this on every level. Think about this when it comes to what is going on in the government. Think about this when it comes to what's going on within relationships, within churches, within um, jobs, what's going on in our earth. When it comes to our finances and think about things like that. We know what to do, right? Or maybe we don't know at the time, but it's not because we lack the information. It's because we lack the ability to discern the information that is already there. Okay. Now let's keep going. Okay. The information is readily available to the person. In other words, discernment is not about trying to figure out a way through no way. Okay. Nope. That's not the case. Believe me, when you are discerning, there is a way. Okay. And although there may be missing pieces of information and also irrelevant pieces of information, okay, that you may have to sift through, the fact is, discernment takes place when you have all the information you need to make the right choices and decisions in life. Man, listen. If y'all ain't like, I should have got on my little podcast system so I could do some type of like cheering or some type of claps or something. Okay. I need some sound effects, honey, because I really feel like it needs to be like a whole bunch of mic drops or like some bomb drops or something. Okay. Because like this is this is this is giving, honey. Okay, where am I? My page turned on me. Okay. So okay. It says the last sentence. And although there may be missing pieces of information, right? You may like it might be a couple like missing pieces, you know what I'm saying, here and there. Or there's also irrelevant pieces, meaning that's something that ain't done it is not even relevant to the to the whole situation, right? um that you may have to sift through, right? You have to sift through through all of this through the missing pieces, through the irrelevant pieces and all of that. The fact is, discernment takes place when you have all the information you need to make the right choices and decisions in life. Child, that should make you feel good. Like that should make you feel really, really good. Okay. Because that just like whenever you can like take control of the situation, meaning that you control you, right? That's what this means. Taking control means that you control you, which means that, okay, in order for me to make better decisions in my life, right? All I gotta do is really just activate discernment. And guess what? I already have it because I was born with it. It's my God given birthright, right? Like it's already there. And all I have to do is work that thing out. You know what I'm saying? Like I just worked out a while ago, which is why I'm still sweet. Okay. All I got to do is work it out. Y'all, that's some good information right there. Okay. There are so many times when we ignore information we receive because we are convinced that more information is needed before we can act. Now, how many times have we done that? Like, well, I just can't make a decision because I need more info. No, you don't. You don't need more info. You know. Okay. Unfortunately, we often use that stance as an excuse, okay? As an excuse to continue with the status quo because it is easier to do nothing than to make waves. Doing nothing does not require us to rock the boat or implement necessary and hardcore changes. We simply don't want to, well, I don't want to rock the boat, you know. I don't want to stir things up, you know. I don't want to make all these changes. So that's why we're not discerning because we don't want to rock the boat. Come on, y'all. But if we are ready to discern and actually stay alert to what people are really communicating to us, we would understand that we were told exactly what we needed to know in order to make the right moves. Another bomb drop. And that's all we're going to read for today, honey. Now, we got some reflection questions, right? And we have some more information to read on this chapter. But we got to stop for today because your girl got to go, okay? I got a whole meeting to go to. So I need to go, do something to myself, child. Look at this. Look at this hot mess. I'm getting way too comfortable with coming on live looking a hot mess. Y'all, what y'all gonna do with me? Okay. Listen. So this is a yearn to discern, okay? A yearn to discern. And it's by R.L. Mako, and it's finding purpose and fulfillment through discernment. Y'all. This is a whole good news book right here. This is a good news book. Let me tell you why, okay? Because right from the jump, she lets you know first of all what discernment is. Secondly, that everybody's got it, right? And thirdly, that your ability to discern is dependent on you. That is good news, okay? Because it doesn't mean that the information isn't there. It doesn't mean that we don't have like all the things, all the tools that we already need within ourselves to make better decisions, to have more fulfilling and a purpose-driven life, a more fulfilling relationships, right? Thriving careers, financial freedom, you know, um, successful relationships otherwise, like our children and all of those things, because what we need is discernment. And all we need to do really is know what it is, activate it, normalize it, use it in our everyday lives and every decision that we make in life, even like today, getting up, working out. I'm late, but I'm still here, you know? And that is, that's a decision that I had to make, right? And when I thought about it, I wanted to sleep, you know. This I got nothing to do with that. I wanted to sleep. I done already missed a meeting this morning. I just now realized. So I'm gonna have to do better. You know what I'm saying? That means that everything, using the information that's already there. Obviously, I can't count on my memory to remember these meetings I have to go to. So I need to write everything down. I need to make sure, double check that I make sure I have everything in my calendar, you know, that I have planned ahead, that, I'm doing all the things that I need to do to set myself up for success. But the information is there. It's just like I can't say that I didn't know, you know? It's just that what are you putting in place? How are you making your decisions? How are you, adjusting your life and all of the things so that you can be successful in these areas? What other distractions do you have going on in your life that is preventing you from making better decisions? We'll get into that even more later. But I wish you guys a wonderful and prosperous discerning Wednesday. Okay. It is Wednesday. I think it's August what, 16th? Yeah, August 16th. It is 10:21 Central Standard Time. I'm in Alabama. So if you watch this video later, let me know where you are tuning in from, and let me know your thoughts on discernment. Make sure that you go ahead and like the video and share the video, right? Because this is really good information that everybody could use. And make sure that you grab my ebook, The Religious Narcissist Decoded, and that is my latest ebook that just came out last week, actually a week ago. Good morning. It's me again, Delores, the pastor's daughter.
Yeah, when I get on camera and I just start chuckling. I don't even really know what I be chuckling about, child. I really don't. It's just I don't know. Life just making me chuckle. So what did y'all think about that one? That's some y'all. You know what? I hadn't even watched these videos in a while, but I did that. As far as book review, child, I did that. I broke it down so good, didn't I? Okay. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with going back, listening to it, and you know, getting a refresher on discernment and all the things. So let's keep going, y'all. If you've been working with me, you've been working for an hour and 24 minutes. We've been on the stream. So we're gonna keep on going. We're gonna listen to this next video, discerning on a regular basis. Okay. And then go over the reflection questions in that video. So let's keep going, y'all. I think we're making great progress. And we're getting that good information in our spirit, in our minds, in our subconscious. So, you know, um, we can learn better skills in discernment, how to make better decisions, how to really elevate our lives, and really how to save our lives. Some people don't really think about discernment as a life and death situation, but it really can be. It really can make the difference between life and death. And, I don't like to always frame it that way, but it is really that serious. From time to time, it's really that serious. Like, a lot of women don't know when to discern the time to walk away from a relationship, to discern what relationships to get in, what to avoid. So discernment is so important that we simply cannot afford to continue our lives day to day, our day-to-day decisions, our major decisions, and decisions for our loved ones, without having that gift, without activating it and using it in every area of our lives. So let's continue. And again, let me know what you're working on in the chat. Make sure that you like the video. If you like to support the channel, I just put at the bottom my cash app. You're more than welcome to donate to that. If this channel is blessing you, if it's enriching you, then that is a way that you can show your appreciation. And yeah, and I would definitely appreciate it. So let's keep on keeping on, y'all.
Looking a hot mess. But that's all right, okay? Because we got some important things to talk about. We're talking about discernment, okay? This is your daily dose of discernment, okay? Let's do like a little intro. Hey y'all, what is going on? It's me, Delores, the pastor's daughter, and I'm back with Dolores's daily dose of discernment. Okay, look, don't act like y'all don't know. Okay, y'all know how we do. We got to get our discernment on. Okay, so how are you doing? Today is Thursday. It is what, the 17th. Okay, so look, y'all know yesterday I came out here and I was like, oh my God, I missed an appointment. Well, guess what? I actually missed two. Why? Why, y'all? Why? Why did I miss? I missed a whole doctor's appointment, y'all, yesterday. A rheumatology appointment at that. And y'all know I have fibromyalgia and lupus, right? So I don't need to be missing any rheumatology appointments. But I totally missed it. And now I can't even like get back in until October. Y'all pray for me. But anyways, I've been feeling okay. So I feel like it's gonna be all right. So it's all good. Okay. But anyways, so yesterday we left off at in our book. We're doing a review of A Yarn to Discern, right, by R.L. Mako, and it's finding purpose and fulfillment through discernment. Okay, so we're still on this discernment thing, okay, and we're gonna be on it for a while because I'm telling you, it's something that um we all need to really like dig deep into. Okay. Um, so that we make better decisions for our lives. So yesterday, where we left off is we were reading the chapter 1, which is the origins of the word discern, right? So we went into the origins of the word, then we went into the root of the word. And remember, she said like the main word that she wanted us to really like like hold on to when we talk about discernment is sifting, right? Not finding or something being obscure or a needle in a haystack. Remember, we talked about that, right? No, instead, it's sifting. So it's sifting through the vast amount of information that may be there, the even some pieces of information that may be missing, and some information that may be irrelevant to your ultimate decision making, right? So that's where we left off. And then we talked about how the ability to discern is dependent on the individual person. right? Remember, we talked about that. And I told y'all that that's actually a good thing, right? It's good to actually hear that your ability to discern is really dependent on you, which means that the power is in your hands to really like get that skill down, to activate what's already in you, right? Because it's already there. The information that you need to make a good decision is already there. And all you have to do is work on your individual ability to discern, which means that sometimes you have to take a look inside, right? Do some self reflection. Think about what you have in your life that is preventing you from making good decisions, and then make a decision on what you need to do about that, those things in your life that is preventing you from making good decisions, right? So, where we left off is on the reflective questions, okay? So, I'm going to go through these reflective questions. And because most of you watch my videos after they've already aired live, right? This is a good thing for you because what you can do is after I read the question, just pause the video, right? Pause the video, answer the question for yourself, and then continue the video. And if you're watching me on YouTube, then you can go ahead and pause the live video and it won't, you won't have any problems with that either, right? You just can't do that on Facebook because I'm streaming on Facebook as well. So, hey, y'all on Facebook. Hey, y'all on YouTube. What's going on? Okay. So, so what you can do is I'm going to read through the questions and then you could pause the video if you're on YouTube, or you can just simply like pause the video if you are watching the replay, okay? And then just answer the questions for yourself. Be honest, be honest about, your answers because that's really how you're going to be able to do things differently and make a oh, it was a bird, y'all. It was like he was gliding like he found something to pounce on, okay? So anyway, um, you have to be honest about your answers because that's what's really going to propel you forward in making better decisions, right? It's just being honest about where you are right now, right? Okay, so the reflective questions are these are about missed opportunities, okay? So this is what the author says. She says, I would like you to take a few moments to reflect upon the following list of questions. Upon reflection, answer these questions that pertain to how you handled certain situations in the past. Take as much reflective time as you need before answering these questions. Can you guys hear the wind chimes? Those are my wind chimes. My mommy gave them to me. She gave them to me like a long, long time ago. It's probably been like, I don't know, probably been like 20 years, y'all. But anyway, I love wind chimes. But anyways, so that's what you're hearing in the background. Number one is, can you recall any situation where you were provided with information about an opportunity that required you to make a decision in life, but instead of taking advantage of the opportunity, you placed the information aside because you did not think the time was right for you to act? If so, please list each such opportunity or opportunities that presented itself or themselves to you. Okay, so that's the first question. Okay, can you recall any situation where you were provided with information about an opportunity that required you to make a decision in life, but instead of taking advantage of the opportunity, you placed the information aside? Okay, you placed the information aside because you did not think the time was right for you to act. If so, please list each such opportunity. Okay, that's the first question. Second question, um, why did you decide not to take advantage of this opportunity? Okay, or opportunities? Were there other people, such as a partner, children, or parents, that played a role in your decision to turn down the opportunities? List all persons who you believe had an active or passive role in your decision to decline the opportunities. Okay, so this is where you're listing the people that contributed either actively or passively. Okay, Okay. So you answer that question. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to and answer that question. Okay. Or, of course, you can come back to it. Number three, perhaps you believe your particular circumstance, right? Such as your finances, maybe a recent divorce, a demanding job, something like that, and not a person played a role in your decision not to act on the opportunity, right? Was your decision based upon a particular circumstance at the time? Please elaborate on the circumstances that you believe caused you to miss out on any opportunity. Okay, that's question three. Number four, did you miss out on any opportunities due to both people and circumstances in your life at the time? Yes or no? If you feel both people and circumstances played a role in your decision, please elaborate on who and what prevented you from taking advantage of any opportunity. Okay, that's number four there. Number five. Now that you have identified the persons and or circumstances you believe influenced your decision to pass an opportunity in life, please identify the specific reason you used at the time to decline taking advantage of the opportunity. Okay. So basically, what was your excuse? Okay. Okay. What was your excuse, child, that you used during that time? That's the question. Okay. Now that's number five. Number six. How do you believe this missed opportunity could have changed your life if you took advantage of it? The change can be any type of change, negative or positive, that you believe would have taken place had you taken advantage of the opportunity at the time. Please list each perceived change below. Okay, so those are the questions. Those are six questions for you to reflect on in this particular chapter of A Yarn to Discern by R.L. Mako. Okay, so let's keep on going. Okay, being honest when answering these questions is key. If you are honest with yourself, you will more than likely learn some things about yourself. And you will more than likely learn some things about yourself, and you will reflect on who you were back then and who you are right now. See, this is the thing. You never know where you're going until you know where you are. You know how when you go into a mall, right? And then you're looking for directions to a particular store or whatever, right? Let's say you want to go to Bed Bath & Beyond, Victoria's Secret or something, right? Okay, so you have to look at the directory and it says, okay, you are here, right? So you have to know where your starting place is in order to get directions to where you want to go. So that is what this is giving you. Is like, okay, where am I or where was I back then? Okay, when these opportunities or decisions or these people played a certain role in, or the circumstances that I was in, played a role in my decision making, right? Then once you know where you were, then you know where you are, then you can get a picture of where you're going. But we're not there yet, okay? Where we are right now is like we're just reflecting, okay? We're just reflecting right now, okay? So let's keep going. Hopefully you will see a difference, okay? Hopefully you will see a difference between where you were right back then and where you are right now. And then when you get to where you're going, you're definitely gonna see a difference because now you armed with the information. Okay. Let's keep, let's let's take our time here. Okay. So here we go. Please do not be afraid of reflecting back on certain actions you took or did not take in life. Reflection is critical for growth and personal development. Okay. Perhaps let me just repeat that, okay, because that's a very important key here. Reflection is critical for growth and personal development. Perhaps there are significant changes you've made in life since then to now, or perhaps there is little change. This line of questioning is not about placing blame on anyone regarding the choices you made in life. It is, however, about understanding who you are, how you view the world, how you navigate relationships, and how you handle life situations. After reading part of this book, you may return to these questions, right? With more answers to write down, or maybe you will identify even more opportunities you declined in the past. The goal is for you to have a better understanding of why you declined any opportunities that presented themselves to you at some point in your life. In the end, the answers to these questions should act as a barometer for how well developed or underdeveloped your ability to discern was at the time. Okay, so it's about assessing the situation, right? It's about assessing who you were, who you are, who you're going to be. I feel like I have like a piece of hair or something on my nose. Okay. This is just the first step in a series of steps for you to take in developing your ability to discern more readily. Okay. I have like lint on my nose or something. Anyways, excuse me, you guys. Okay. So the next part is discerning on a regular basis. Okay. Here is an interesting fact that regular discerners know and understand. In many instances, a person may communicate only one word, one phrase, or even a single gesture, action, or lack thereof that gives us a significant amount of information needed in order to make the right choices for ourselves. I have to repeat that. Hold on. And I gotta pop my flag. Okay. I gotta pop my fan on that, okay? Because look, that's that's a really big key right there. That's a really big key, right? Because if you are a regular discerner, you know that sometimes it only takes a look. Sometimes it only takes a word, an action, or an inaction, right? Because of her, a person fails to do something, or fails to make a choice, or fails to speak out. That tells you everything you need to know, right? Think about it. Now let's read this again. In an, in many instances, a person may communicate only one word, one phrase, or even a single gesture, action, or lack thereof that gives us a significant amount of information needed in order to make the right choices for ourselves. Okay, I'm trying to tell y'all. It's easier than we're making it, okay? Friendships and intimate relationships are perhaps the best opportunities to take note of these brief encounters that gives us pertinent information about a person, information which in turn tells us how to proceed with the person going forward. Dating is a great way to figure out certain things about people and ourselves in the process. Let's look at an example about dating to underscore this point. This is why I do periodic reviews of Kendra G's dating show, right? The single show. Because when you, just a series of questions that she asks will give you so much information about a person. And obviously, people answer the question, but they usually will expound on it, or they'll tell you extra things or whatever that will let you know a significant amount of information about that person, about the dating experience, about their past dating experience, about their future dating experience, about what you can expect from that person. I'm telling you, those interviews give people so much information about a person that I feel they don't even take advantage of all of the information that is truly given during those interviews. Okay. And I'm referring to the Kendra G single show. Okay. Because I've done a few reviews on my channel about just different ones, and I'm going to continue doing them. In fact, we might do a couple today or one or two today. I don't know. But, um, but it gives you so much information about people, about, what their beliefs are, about their dating experiences, about their choices in the past, about their propensity to violence, about their attentiveness, about their ability to protect and provide, about, I'm telling you, it gives you so much information. Okay. So here is a scenario. It's called the dating game. Okay. Here's a story. Let's say you are dating someone who uses swear words consistently when describing people he or she is not happy with. Uh-oh. Red flag. Do you realize this person is actually giving you insight into how they respond or react to people when they are upset with them? Which means that this person's going to do you the same way. Okay. When this person conveys his or her stories of conflict to you, do not focus on what you're told the other person did because you are not privy to that person's side of the story. Who did what is actually irrelevant here because it's not your conflict to solve. What is relevant, however, is the fact that this person is calling another person outside of their name by using derogatory terms. What should cross your mind is, what would this person say about me if and when I make them upset? Because you're probably going to make them upset. Everybody gets upset at some point, right? Again, if this person you are dating consistently refers to people they are upset with in unflattering terms, this is a valid question for you to ask yourself. It's perfectly valid, okay? So don't feel bad about asking yourself these questions like, okay, well, if this person is doing all that, what are they gonna do to me? And you think, okay, well, I'm never gonna make them mad, but that's just not even realistic, right? Because everybody gets mad at some point, right? A person who discerns regularly may not need to hear this verbiage over and over again before making a rational judgment in their best interests. In addition, if this type of vocabulary does not sit well with you, then you should make it known to the person and see how they respond. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's see how they respond when I let them know, like, this bothers me. It bothers me that you say such, mean things about people when you get mad at them. Makes me think, what are you gonna say about me when you get mad at me? And then the person's like, well, I would never get mad at you. Well, you already know, okay? You already know that ain't true because everybody gets mad at everybody at some point, right? Okay, let's keep going. If nothing changes on their end, then you are the one who needs to change, either by limiting your contact with this person or by ceasing all contact with them altogether. Okay? It's your choice. And it's clear that discernment is calling your name for you to make appropriate decisions here. Okay? That is a perfect scenario. Okay? That's why I was telling y'all. That's why I show you guys Kendra G's dating show. That's why I do reviews on that, right? Because that show gives you so much information into the mindset of a person that you may potentially date, you know, or that you may be friends with. Not everybody is deserving of your friendship. Not everybody is deserving of your time and your space and your energy. And you have to be discerning in knowing that and figuring that out for yourself, right? Let's keep going. When you are in the midst of discerning, the information you will need in order to make sound decisions and proper choices is yearning for you to absorb and utilize appropriately. Sometimes immediately depending upon the situation at hand. Sometimes you got to make a quick decision, right? Sometimes you could take a step back and take a little time and analyze, but sometimes you got to make a quick decision, right? Like, this is not a safe space for me. This is not a safe environment. This is not a safe person, and I need to get out of here quick. The situation is escalating, and uh, you know what I'm saying. You guys know when you get a vibe, you get a you discerning the situation, and you just like, wait a minute, something is not quite right here. This is dangerous for me. People are like, the tensions is getting high. You guys have probably seen this in clubs before, or events that you have gone to, that you see that the situation isn't right. You need to make an immediate decision for your safety, right? So she's saying that sometimes you have to make an immediate decision, but obviously sometimes you have a little more time to analyze things. Okay? Discernment makes it possible for you to protect yourself and all who are affected by you. Understand that discernment is not about picking up your blueprint or roadmap and actually following it. No, I think I said that wrong. Understand that discernment is about picking up your blueprint or roadmap and actually following it. See? Okay? So here I'm assuming that she's saying that your wait a minute. Let me read a little bit more. It's not about tricking you or taking you through a series of mazes in order to find the correct path. Okay, that's what she's saying. When your sense of discernment is at its peak, the path is clear, and to you, the same way the yellow brick road became clear to Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. In other words, the path is brightly lit and waiting for you to follow it. So she's saying it's not about some trickery that you have to, and all these mazes that you have to go through. It's actually like the path is clear here. I don't need to fool with you. The path is clear. I need to remove myself from this situation. The path is clear. I don't need to give this person access to me, or, I don't need to take this job, or I don't need to give my money to this organization, or, whatever the case may be, because you should be discerning in every decision you make in life, in every area of your life. Okay. So let's keep going. According to Buddhism and Kabbalah traditions, the yellow brick road symbolizes what is known as the golden path. The golden path represents the path of the soul from egoism to enlightenment. Other definitions of the yellow brick road define it as the road to success or happiness. This is why the analogy between discernment and the yellow brick road makes sense, because learning how to discern leads you to happiness and success. Learning how to discern also forces you to drop your ego, your pride, and selfishness in order to follow the path of enlightenment. It all comes down to choice. We all make choices in life that will have lasting effects and consequences on our lives and the lives of others. If we actually took the time to understand why we're making choices, we'd be more conscientious about making them. Being more conscientious would also help us realize that oftentimes we make decisions and choices with emotions, okay? Pride and ego at the helm. Making choices under those circumstances only leads to regret, uncertainty, and chaos, either immediately or eventually. This is why we need to be clear about when obscurity enters the picture and how our shortcomings are the source of such obscurity. Okay? Let me read this part again. Being more conscientious would also help us realize that oftentimes we make decisions and choices with emotions, pride, and ego at the helm. Making choices under those circumstances only leads to regret, uncertainty, and chaos, either immediately or eventually. Okay? This is why we need to be clear about when obscurity enters the picture and how our shortcomings are the source of such obscurity. Okay? So, when it comes to making appropriate choices, the only time obscurity comes into play is when you are not discerning. Okay? The only time when it comes to making appropriate choices, the only time obscurity comes into play is when you are not discerning. Okay? So if things aren't clear and it's obscure, it's because you're not using discernment. Okay? This means that instead of seeing what is in front of you, you become more preoccupied with other things that block your ability to see or comprehend what is right under your nose. Which means that when it comes to relationships, our it could be our desire to just be with somebody so bad that we're not seeing all the signs, all the red flags that are just right there, like glaring. I mean, it's like red flags, caution signs, stop signs, do not enter signs, all kind of signs. And we simply are not. We're like, oh, I don't see, I don't know. It's all obscure. It's not clear. Because what's really happening is you're being emotional. It's your ego, it's your desires that are overshadowing your ability to make an appropriate decision in that situation. Okay, let's keep going. So it says, instead of seeing what is right in front of you, you become preoccupied with other things that block your ability to see or comprehend what is right under your nose. That's why all your friends could see, girl, he is not the right one for you, but you can't see it. Everybody's telling you, right? Now, granted, sometimes you are surrounded by people who are jealous and stuff like that. But when you know that you around, that's another discerning decision you got to make. Okay, surround yourself with people you can trust. That sometimes you have to realize that maybe you'll fall a little bit short of being able to discern because you have to realize like this takes time to work that muscle, right? So discerning is also saying, hey, I'm surrounding myself by people that I trust. So I can always go to these trusted advisors or friends or loved ones and get some good information from them that will also help me to make the right decision. Right? Okay, let's keep going. In fact, the information is only obscure to the extent that one has failed to recognize the information available, or in many instances, specifically chooses to ignore it. Okay? But make no mistake about it, discernment does not function on misinformation or unknown information. If there is one misconception about discernment, this must be dispelled. That is it. That's the misconception that must be dispelled. Is that discernment is functioning on some type of misinformation or unknown information that you don't know. You know, the information is there. What's going on with you that is preventing you from making the right decision for yourself when the information is there? Okay. So now that we discussed the origins of discernment, in order to comprehend the full breadth um, of the word discernment, um, it is necessary to break the word down to its simplest form so that we can understand what discernment is truly all about. Once we understand what discernment really means, we can then discuss and dissect different situations we experienced in life, situations where discernment came into play or should have come into play during stressful, emotional, chaotic, and also blissful times in our lives. Discernment is open to us for the distinct purpose of increasing our chances of success in confronting these situations. By analyzing the word discernment in depth, we will be able to understand where we went wrong in handling certain situations in the past, as well as prepare ourselves to handle future situations that yearn for us to discern in order to make it through the process successfully. By doing this, we will understand exactly how discernment steers us in the right direction. In the end, every time, every single time, discernment will steer you in the right direction. So let's next look at three foundational topics that are that are critical to your full understanding of discernment. Okay, here's one: discernment and spirituality. Two, the meaning of discernment. And three, discernment, core values, principles, and rules. Okay, so these are the foundational topics that are critical to a full understanding of discernment. So before we move on to the next segment, please review and analyze your answers to the questions. Remember, we went over those questions at the beginning of the video, okay? So if you're just tuning in, I asked some questions that were in the book, some reflective questions um, from the book, so that you all can assess where you were and where you are on your journey of discernment, of activating and elevating and transforming yourself, you know? So go ahead and um, go back in the video and look at those questions. As you answering the questions, you can pause the video, through each question, write down your answers, and and make sure that you go back and reflect on those, okay? And be honest about your answers. Be fully transparent, okay? Because nobody's like grading this for you, nobody's judging you or anything like that. It's simply a situation where this word, right, this concept, this principle, this gift of discernment, we just, some of us just really didn't realize we had it. First of all, we didn't realize that we were born with discernment, and the situations and circumstances in our lives has prevented us or stifled us in our decision making and being able to make informed, thoughtful decisions, that lead us to the success and happiness that God desires for us. Okay. So that is the end of this particular chapter. Um, and then it say you should revisit these questions as needed. We will also answer more probing questions as you progress in your understanding of discernment. Okay, so there are more questions in each of the chapters. So as we go through, let me show you. So that's why I recommend that you guys go ahead and get the book, right? Because you can just answer these questions in your own book, highlight the different areas. That really mean something to you that maybe you want to go back and reflect on. And then you can also reflect on your answers. Like let's say a year from now, right? Because we also have the book A Year to Discern, right? By R.L. Mako. So let's say a year from now, you want to go back and reflect on these particular questions and where you were at the time when you wrote your answers. I'm sure that you guys will see a tremendous difference in your life, um, based on where you are right now, where we're going through this, and where you will be a year from now, let's say. Um, so the next chapter is chapter 2, and it's discernment and spirituality. Okay, so we will dive into that on tomorrow. And y'all, I'm telling you, this book is really good. So I mean, if you're gonna get this book, A Yearn to Discern, then you should go ahead and get A Year to Discern as well. Okay, so we're gonna go through these books. Is my that this is my specialty. Okay, my specialty is discernment. So I am a discernment and relationship life coach, right? And so I help people to activate and increase their discernment. And one of the ways that I'm going to help you all do this is by actually reading to you other books, other authors who are talking about this. Now, you guys know that I have my memoir came out last year, about a year and a half ago, The Pastor's Daughter Provoked. So when you read this book, you will, like, this is going to give you a lot of information on how I use discernment in real time, right? Because I'm writing. I used a conversation that it was the final conversation I had with my father, right? Which means that, look, I that conversation happened, and I didn't need any more information, right? I didn't need to, like, obviously I grew up, he raised me, right? So I grew up with him, right? So that was my life. But that conversation was a final conversation we had where I knew that I had all the information that I needed to make the best choice for myself. And I chose that day that I would no longer speak to my father, that I would no longer give my father access to me or my family, that I was completely done with him. I left the church and I have not spoken to my father ever since. This was our final conversation. And this book includes word for word transcriptions of that conversation because I recorded it. Okay. I recorded the conversation. So I put in here the exact conversation. And then I broke it down, right? So that you guys could see what I was discerning in real time. What I already knew, the information was already there for me to make a decision that my father was trying to kill my mother, that my father was abusing the church members. He abused us throughout our childhood. And there was nothing more that I could do. There was nothing more as a daughter that I could do to help or change or provoke my father to be better, you know? And that the best thing that I could do for myself is to prioritize myself, self love, self care, healing, right? And then using the experience to be able to teach other people that we all have discernment, right? Even when it comes to our closest relationships, which is where we tend to throw our discernment out of the window, right? We tend to throw discernment right on out when it comes to the people that we are closest to and that we love. But sometimes you have to let go of the people that you love because it is not healthy for you to be with them or to be around them or to be in relationship with them. That's what discernment is there for. Because it will give you comfort in knowing that you have analyzed the situation, you've done the self-reflection, you have, used your intuition and the Holy Spirit and your good judgment, your vibes and whatever you want to call it, right? To make the best decision for you. Discernment is never going to lead you wrong. And this book is evidence of it, right? So if you don't have this book, go ahead and grab it. It's volume 1 of my memoir series. There will be 6 additional books in this series, okay? But I really want you guys to get this book because it's really going to lay the foundation um, of discernment and religious narcissism, because it's really what I believe is that it's religious narcissism that is running rampant in our world right now, that is really preventing people from making the best decisions possible for themselves, right? Because these narcissists are using our belief system and our faith, right, and our relationship with our creator to actually manipulate, control, abuse, exploit us. And so we need to be discerning um about these types of people, about these spirits, right? It's discerning of spirits. And but if we are not even laying the foundation of discernment, then you can never get here. You can never get to a place where you are understanding the spiritual aspect of discernment if you can't even, you know what I'm saying, use discernment in your everyday life. It's like that is a higher spiritual concept that you just aren't able to do because you're still making bad decisions in regular everyday life because of your own individual ability or lack of ability to discern, which is why it is very necessary for us to lay the groundwork and build and build and build and build on your ability to discern. Okay. So that is all I have for you on today. Tomorrow we're going to get right on into chapter 2, and we're just going to keep on. We're going to keep on going. Okay. My hope for you all is for you to activate your discernment so that it elevates you, right? So that it elevates your decision making. It elevates your self confidence. It elevates your ability to really do what's right for yourself, right? and your place in the world, right? Because your decisions affect everyone around you, right? But if you're not making good decisions, guess what? Your kids are suffering, your spouse is suffering, your friends are suffering, your family's suffering, your job is suffering, your home is suffering, your finances are suffering. Everything is suffering, either in the short term or the long term. Your ability to make good decisions is what is going to determine y- how happy you are in life, your success in life, right? And I want you to be successful. I want you to be happy. And it doesn't depend on other people, it depends on you and your ability to make the decisions that are best for you. Okay? So make sure that you like the video, share the video. This is really good information for you to share. Okay? Everybody could use a lesson on discernment. Everybody can, because even the people that you dislike, right? People that you don't get along with, more than likely it's because they're not using discernment, and neither are you. So share this with somebody you don't even like, you know, so that they can make better decisions in their life as well. Okay. So I love you guys, and I wish you a wonderful, prosperous, blessed Thursday. Okay. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and do all the things to get this message out to the masses. I love you guys. Bye bye for now.
That's pretty good, right? Child. It's like I'm really getting these lessons too, like I told you it's good to have like a refresher on these lessons about discernment and just how to make your life better. Um so I think it's about time to take a break and I don't know, maybe even take a nap, child. I don't even know. Ooh, we've been going for 2 hours and 11 minutes. So we're doing good. This is a really good writing session. Um, so we want to pat ourselves on the back. Okay, we did that. And then I'm just going to take a break and then I'll come back again probably in a couple hours after I rest and then just start back up again. And let me see where we left off. We've worked we've listened through episode child what is else? Okay, we watched we watched 3 episodes, so we're on discerning friendships and intimate relationships. So
Hey,
that's where we are
it's
now. Oh, child, we gotta watch this one, y'all, because this one look like it's gonna be good. I forgot I did this. I told y'all these were like a long time ago. When were these? Let me see if it shows the date. Let me see. I don't know. I want to say it probably at least 2 years ago. Yeah, probably like 2 years ago at least. So I actually forgot that how I did it. So I'm excited to see this next episode and see what's up. And this next episode is what is this? An hour and 9 minutes. So that's good. So next time we come back, we could probably watch like 2 episodes and then we'll take another break. Because I at least I do. I have to take breaks. Um, my body gets tired. Plus, sitting in this seat. Yeah, I went to the chiropractor yesterday, and he said that my hip was all misaligned, and I could tell because I was like walking differently and everything. So I was like, I got to get in, see my chiropractor, and he adjusted me good. But I think what the problem is this seat cushion that I'm sitting on. I think I need to change out this seat cushion because I think it's like, and probably like my posture anyway. Because I mean, just kind of like sitting here for a while is like it's hurting. Actually, my knees hurt, so I need to take a break, stretch my body out, and I probably need to get a new seat cushion to go on here that will better like help, like probably like my lumbar, like a lumbar spine type cushion, that keeps my body in line. Plus, it's like an old chair, so I was thinking that the cushion that I got was gonna help, but I've had it for a little while too, so it's probably time to go ahead and switch it out and get a better cushion that'll help. help me keep my body in line and stuff like that. So that's that, y'all. And let me see. I would just see y'all like in the next session. We'll watch these next two episodes of A Yearn to Discern. And yeah, just keep on making progress in what we're creating. So you guys, let me know in the chat what you're working on. What are you creating? Also, as you leave, go ahead and hit the like button so that other people know that we're here and that we're doing these sessions together, so we can hold each other accountable, so we can encourage each other to keep creating. Okay. I love you guys, and I'll talk to y'all later.